That's a little Nickelback for our Canadians, Dak and Mitchell and Bolo and everybody else. Welcome to RAD's live stream Friday at 4 p.m. Mountain. Mike P. Peter from the UK. I've read those comments. D-Man, Mysterio. There was a lot of clues before, I'll tell you that. Europe, divorce means in the marriage, the monkey branching was over 9,000. Chris Mitchell in the house. Dak, I just wrenched you. T-Talks says, for me, it's former Mrs. L-Bag. Just decided I was holding. Oh, you were holding her back too. Holding her back for 300, Trebet. Paul Smecker, good to see you, brother. Radical Rafter in the house. BJ Fornash. John Boston, the legendary John Boston. Jason Reed from Colorado. Mr. Sammy, good to see you. Skeleton. Jawara, growing his dreads out. Good to see you. The Jonathan Noble way is the only way for guys to stay out of trouble, but that also brings risks. Travis is in the house. I was almost going to play some Curious Syndicate, but I thought the little Nickelback would get us amped up. Divorce in 2024 is like a Happy Meal at McSchlonnel's. At first, she is happy and eats everything. And after that, she throws everything in the trash. Well said, brother. Patriots 1 is back. Good to see you. CJ, Nick Vincent. Good to see you back in the chat. Let's see who else we got. We got Mr. Hemi. Good to see Hemi back. We're going to get this house sold this year. Look, probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks, it's going on the market, and then life moves on. Thanks, Dak, for putting that up. Travis's site, we got some good content. Dak's another solid creator. Chris Mitchell, and more are adding to the experience. If she wants to go, let her go. It's her loss. The grass is not greener on the other side. She will only get pumped and dumped. Well said. Well, listen, here's the deal. Good to see Blue Creek and everybody else. I am going to probably not read a lot of comments because I've got to keep my train of thought. The day the ex-wife gave me divorce papers, and what happened? I came home from Las Vegas, and I've talked a little bit about this in another video, but I came back from Vegas. In fact, that week, the week I was in Vegas, we weren't really talking. She was upset. It was really awkward, very, very awkward. I just knew something was wrong. And I was in Vegas with her brother. I think he knew something was going on. I think she told him like ahead of time what was up, that she was going to file for divorce or whatever, because he was acting weird. Anyway, I get back like a Thursday night late, like 10 o'clock. The next day, it's a Friday. And she said, I got to go take my son to school or pick him up or something. And she'll be back. Well, she came back. She came back with her brother, her younger brother. The youngest brother, I got him a job in the industry that I was in. I got him all sorts of things, gave him money. She comes in with her brother. And she said, hey, can you come out here for a second? So we go to the kitchen island. Very nice kitchen island. FJT's in the house. Good to see you, brother. We're sitting around. So I come out of the master bedroom. I was doing a little work on the computer, on the bed. And I come to I see my brother-in-law. What the hell is he doing here? Like, that's really weird. And then she says, I'm sorry, but I had to file. And she gives me this stack of paperwork, like 2 inches thick. She puts it on the countertop. And wow, my heart was racing. Now, was this something that was in the works? Sure. Do we have massive problems at this point? Yes. I had told her over the last 6 months prior to this delivery of paperwork that I was, if she was unhappy, to go file. Well, I got what I wished for, right? She went and filed, and she's got a stack of papers. And she did it wrong, because you're not supposed to have anybody that's not a licensed process server serve you. But I was served, And I took my ring off right then and there, put it on the counter, laid it down, just took it straight off, and bam, put it on the counter. Went back to I took the paperwork, went back to my room. She comes into the room, shut the door. She comes into my room, or our room at the time, and says, I need you to sign these papers so we can send it back. And I said, F off. Like, I'm not signing anything. Like, I need to go find a lawyer. I didn't have a lawyer at this point, so I had to go figure out how to find a lawyer. Luckily, there was a judge that was a friend of mine that lived in our neighborhood. So I called the judge up that evening, and I was embarrassed to say, hey, I need a lawyer. I just got served divorce papers. And he was a great dude. He's still a sitting judge, very tough judge. And he gave me the best damn attorney that one could ever have. And he cost one friggin' arm and a leg, but he protected the radster. So anyhow, I eventually signed the papers, I think the next day. That night, though, the day she served me 2 hours later, this is how crazy it was. 2 hours later, she goes to the grocery store and she brings me back a soda pop. Like she's trying to like make it easy or something. And or more digestible in that sense. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. I go, get all your stuff out of the master bedroom because you don't live in this room anymore. And she started crying. I go, get it out. If you're divorcing me, you're leaving. So I kicked her out to the basement, and she slept on a twin mattress for the next 3 months. And I lived in the master. She lived downstairs. We were going through, think about this. We were going through a divorce, living in the same house, raising 3 kids, 2 in high school, one in 9th grade, 1 in 11th grade, and 1 in 6th grade. And we're living in the same house. It's extremely awkward. We told the older 2 knew. The daughter knew before me. She told the daughter a few days before that she was divorcing me. Can you believe that? The daughter was in on the sham. No wonder we don't have a relationship anymore. But that's besides the point. My son knew, and so we had to tell our youngest son. And I said, I'm not telling him. You tell him. You tell him you're divorcing me. And she kept saying the whole time, no, you pushed me to divorce you. You pushed me. And I'm like, well, I said there's the option to file if you're unhappy. So, obviously you're unhappy and you did what you did. But it was a very weird, extremely awkward. We would go to court, and then she would come downstairs or go upstairs. Oh my gosh, your attorney said the meanest things about me. And then her attorney would file something and say something about me, and it was just a shit show. And finally, we go to court 9 weeks later. We were supposed to go to court like 3 weeks after she filed. And you don't, like, my attorney pushed that out another 5 weeks. It's like, bullshit. We're not going to, play this game. So they pushed it out. There's a lot of things you have to do. So I met with my attorney literally 2 days later at 3:30 in the morning. The guy works from 3 in the morning till like 12 every day. He's a redheaded Irishman that kicks ass. I meet with him. I don't know what to think. I'm nervous. I have anxiety, but I'm not like an anxious type person. I've never been through this. It's extremely difficult. I'm calling my mom in the parking lot, and she's trying to help me. And I go in, and my attorney was awesome. He just said, look, I can see you have this pain about you. But I also said, I think this is going to be for the good, but it hurts. My family is crumbling in front of me. And, my kids are going to have to live in 2 different houses. I was going to be another statistic, right? So he brings me in. He totally calms me down. And he tells me that this is not abnormal. It happens all the time. Women just after 20 years, 18, 19, 15 years, they just become unhappy and they want to be men. That's what he said. Because I said, why do they do it? I mean, we had no debt. We had some significant savings and assets. We, bought 3 houses, did very well. I owned a business. I sold a business. I had assets. Our kids were excelling in sports. They were excelling in school. They had lots of friends. My daughter was a cheerleader, which is extremely difficult to make on the high school team. It's like very competitive. It's like trying to be the quarterback of a football team. And, there'd been no, run-ins with the popo or anything like that. And so what do you do? And he just said, look, she's unhappy because she's probably listening to her friends. She's on social media. She went to a seminar like 3 months before that, and some lady told her to, you women, you need to be empowered. You go, girl, eat, pray, love, go find yourself. There's more to life than motherhood. I remember her calling me saying that she needed to figure out what to do, right? She was unhappy because she didn't know what to do. But anyhow, this all comes together, and I felt so much better after I laid down $5,000 as a retainer. Remember, when you go in, you got to give them a retainer. Some it's 3, some it's 5. Probably in California and New York or Boston is 10 grand. That $5,000 was gone in 10 days. And then it was just adding to it, adding to it, adding to it. And he looked at all the paperwork and he said, yeah, we're just going to reply. You have 21 days to reply in the US. I don't know what it's like in Canada or the UK, but you have 21 days to reply. And he just replied, no. He denied everything, all the allegations or whatever. And they write so much crap in these divorce papers, you would be blown away what they write. They don't write anything. They're trying to disparage you, destroy you, show the court that you're a POS, that they should have full custody, that they should get the majority of the assets or whatever significance amount of alimony. He looked at the paperwork and he threw it down. He goes, I'm going to tell you what you're getting right now. He told me this after an hour of meeting him. He said, you will not pay any alimony. You'll get 50-50 custody, and you'll split everything down the middle, which is state law. Anything acquired during marriage, you have to split in Utah. So there you go. Right. It's, and I got exactly what he said. It took 29 months. It took a bunch of court meetings. It took a bunch of riffraff. And there was a time where I was still in the house. And my attorney said, don't leave the house. There's something called abandonment, but they don't really take that in consideration in certain jurisdictions. A lot of times people leave the house because it is so tense that people can literally delete one another. Happens all the time. And I'm glad that one of us had to leave. I had to leave. It pissed me off because obviously I took care of the finances, paid the bills, worked, I put the house over her head, and I had to leave. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm glad I wasn't there a day longer. She was going crazy. I mean, the allegations that could happen based on a very angry, vindictive person could have put me behind cold metal bars just on allegations alone. And it happens all the time. So it's a good thing that a couple is forced to go away. So what the judge did with us was say, okay, for 1 week, Rad, you stay. She has to leave for a week. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? This is going to teach her. She's going to be pissed off. And she was. She did not like being away. Every other week for 9 weeks. It's called nesting. So it maintains a stable house for the kids, so they don't have to go back and forth. And as you're figuring it all out, and as the judge is going to, solidify whatever agreement we come up with or they come up with and so forth. So it keeps it stable. I think it's a good thing, but it sucked. I drive to Oregon. I drive to Park City. I'd hang out with my friend for a week, Sunday to Sunday. And then like the third week in, she kept saying, can I just come back? I don't like this. Can you just write me something to stay? And I said, no. And then finally, I think the last 3 weeks, it was getting ridiculous. She did the same thing to me. We just went back to the same arrangements. I would write her an email. You're allowed to stay here. I give you that right. And she'd do the same thing. That way we had some record that she allowed me and I allowed her to be in the same house, so we didn't have to keep going back. But I finally moved out July 9th of that year. And we moved all of the furniture out. She actually helped bring furniture over. She was crying really bad that day. I think there was a part of her that felt sad. I don't know. Maybe it was could have been crocodile tears, fake. Who knows? But she came over and she helped make the kids' bathroom. I got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, which was really nice on the first floor, right across from the pool. And she helped with the, bathroom shower curtain and towels and making it all whatever. So that was actually, even though it sucked, at least she came and did something, but it still sucked. And there was such animosity. And I had to leave the apartment while she was there. I would just let her be there with the kids and just, put up posters and picture frames and stuff like that. She brought a bunch of kitchen stuff, which I had bought. Go figure. Thank you. Hey, thanks for bringing the stuff that I bought for you, for the family over the last 20 years. And then we started going back and forth, and the arrangement was every other week. Or excuse me, it was 2255. 2255 is the kids get to see you like Monday and Wednesday. She had them Wednesday and Thursday, and then every other weekend. So you had 14 nights a month on each person. But the kids didn't have to go a week without seeing the other parent. So it was only like 2 to 4, 5 days that they would have to go. So it was actually good for the kids, especially the youngest, because he was he was the one that was going to spend the half of his life going back and forth. My oldest was almost 18. And my second was, 14. So, but the youngster was, he had just turned 10. I mean, he's going back and forth for the next 8, 9 years with all this crap. So that is what happened. She started throwing all sorts of curveballs into it. She wanted to keep the house. I told her, no, you're not going to keep the house because we're splitting everything. No, the judge won't let you make me sell the house. I go, that's not your house. This is our house. We're selling it. Both of us are on the title. No, you can just sign the title over to me. I said, no. So she sold the house, and she wanted this sweetheart deal where you could keep the house. Like you could leave, like the day you left, what was the value of the house? And then she would give me the value, half of the equity of the house based on that value. But she could have lived in it for 5 years and the damn thing gone up $500,000. She would have kept the $500,000 that it went up in equity. And I'm like, nope, we're selling it so I can buy a house and you can buy a house so we can move on and just cut ties. But yeah, that is the reality. And so what was my mental state like? My mental state was, yeah, there was times that first night, man, it sucked. I didn't hear my kids yelling and screaming at each other. I didn't hear the door slamming. I didn't hear, the showers going at night, in the morning, and someone making like, noodles in the microwave. And it was extremely, extremely difficult for the Radster that first probably week or 2 weeks. Now I had been on Tinder as I was in that same house when she filed for divorce. Those 9 weeks I was actually hanging out with some ladies. So it was making the blow a little bit easier and easier with her. Now, when you move out, you got to deal with kids and you miss your kids. You're with your kids. You've been with your kids for 17 years, right? And then all of a sudden you don't see your kids. That is extremely, extremely damaging to a man. It is, especially in the beginning. So when men are sad, when they hit the bottle, when they go and get plastered, when they try to remove all that, I completely understand that. There were times when I would knock down 5, 6 shots in 20 minutes. And it got me through the night. Now, was that the smartest thing to do? No, but I got through it. I didn't keep going that way, but I can see how that would lead to a very destructive life. But it helped the first couple nights, especially. And then I got stronger and stronger and stronger. Every day that went past, every day I made it, I get stronger. And I remember, it was such the initial stages of divorce. It's like it's like there's 4 quarters in a divorce, or maybe overtime, right? And that first, I just remember, I think I've told this multiple times, Friday at noon, if I didn't hear from my attorney, I could literally just relax. I could relax. Because Friday night I wouldn't hear anything, so I could do something with my friends. Or Saturday I could go ride my bike. Saturday night, chill. Sunday morning I'd be fine. And around Sunday, 4 o'clock, I'd start my vibes would just start going down. What am I going to get tomorrow in my email, or what's my attorney going to say on the phone? Is he going to call me? Is she going to say something new? Are they going to make up something new? Are they going to push another, whatever? And that's how it went for literally 2 years. And it was like our divorce was stuck in purgatory. It wasn't moving because she wasn't interested in doing anything. It was almost as though it was like a staring contest, but I won in the end because she eventually signed the paperwork. And it was that. I think we gave some money, additional monies from the sale of the house. It wasn't much, but it was enough to make her say, okay, let's just do it. It was like $500 or something, but that's how much it cost. So that's like 45 minutes of my attorneys. I'd rather just give her an extra 500 than have to spend another 20 to 50,000 just dealing with the same bullshit. So that's where we're at in terms of that. But it was very difficult that first month. And then I started meeting more people in the apartment and some ladies, and I was going out. Back then, Tinder was a very different world, and then Bumble was good. I never had a problem on the dating apps. They're a shit show, and within the last 5 years, but they definitely were helpful in certain regards. And I remember the first time I went out, first gal I went out with, after 20 years of not being with another woman, because it was 95. It was 95. So it'd been like 19 years, right? 19 years. And I had dated, I had kissed, I had been with another woman. And I remember going out with her, and we like made out that night. And boy, it was like, it just made me feel like it was a catalyst for the fact that, you know what, I'm not this bad, horrible creep that I'm being meant to be, and what she's telling other people. There's some chick that wants to hang out with me, that wants to pound me, that wants to do things and whatever. And I wasn't, again, looking to get married or have, a girlfriend, but it was just something that pushed me in the right direction, which basically, and I told my mom this, I said, it pushed me in a way that it gave me an extra boost. How about that? Post-divorce, and said, you know what? You're going to be okay, Rad. Life's going to go well. And from there, it got better. With dealing with her, it was the same crap. I didn't like being around her. And still to this day, I don't like being around her. I can't stand it when I get a text from her. It's just, I don't like having her around me in any form or fashion. And, we've had to do some things together, graduations for the kids, or wisdom teeth that we've had to get our kids them removed. So we'd had to be there with them, as parents and things like that. But yeah, I don't like being around her at all. I don't have any desire or attraction to her. People have asked that. You still attracted to her? She's an attractive woman, but no, absolutely not. There's no attraction whatsoever. I don't like her. I don't think about what I've lost. How about that? And it's going through a divorce has made me realize it's actually, I look back at it now, that first week when it first happened, it sucked. I didn't want it. I didn't want to be divorced. I didn't want a broken family. I wanted to fix it. And I looked for ways to fix it. My attorney, I remember I asked my attorney, I said, what's the possibility of her withdrawing the divorce papers and, in 2 weeks, and realizing it sucked and everything. And it was just, she did it out of emotion. And he told me, he said, it's like a 1% that women do that they will withdraw the divorce. 1% of divorces filed are withdrawn and they work on it. Or it just gives the woman more additional time to have the husband acquire more and more assets, and her to get her to work on her A game. So when she does pull the trigger, she'll have more money to pull from the pot. So I thought, 1%, wow. He said, I did have a client that was a doctor that begged his wife not to divorce him. And he was, in his 50s or something, early 60s. And the woman, he begged her so much that he actually offered her $1 million if he was an asshole down the road and she divorced him the second time, he would give her an extra $1 million. So it incentivized her to stay and incentivized him to whatever. I don't know what ever happened to that. And my attorney's like, yeah, that's not going to work either. Once a woman files for divorce, she's been thinking about that divorce for years, maybe decades. And it's never going back. No one's ever getting a wife back. And there's all these books and videos, how to get your wife back that filed for divorce, and groups. My brother joined one. He's on his second divorce now. Now he's living with another woman 4 weeks after she moved out. And once she has pulled the proverbial, pin from the grenade, it's done. And the moment she thought about filing for divorce, the moment she met with an attorney, the moment she looked on Google for divorce information, the moment and went to the woman's forums and the wife's forums and asked her friends at work and asked her sisters and asked her own daughter, it's over. So that's kind of where I was. And from there, I began to slowly, didn't happen overnight, slowly regain the confidence in who I was. Because I had given myself to a family and to a wife and to a purpose and to a foundation where I sacrificed what I wanted to do for the most part. Now, I wanted to sacrifice. This is what I chose. So it was my choice to say, you know what? I'm going to put all my effort and energy into my kids 99% of the time. I'll give myself 1% to 2% of available time to do what I like to do. Play guitar or ride my bike or ride my skateboard. But I gained some pounds. I didn't do the things I wanted to do just because I was busy running kids around, or we were coaching teams and doing all the family stuff. So after those first, I don't know, probably 2 to 3 months of living on my own in the apartment, getting to know people, other divorcees, other divorced dads going through the same thing, sitting in the hot tub chatting about life, and their women basically pulled the same, I'm not happy, blah, blah, blah. And it is what it is, right? So I slowly began playing my guitar again, riding my bike. And I started moving my energy. When I talk about move your energy, right? I talk about, that's a great comment right there, by the way, Pete from the UK. When you move your energy, the energy picks up momentum, and hopefully it moves you away from that despair. That's all I can say. And that's what it did for me. So if I started to walk, I started going to the hotel or the apartment gym. I started meeting people. I started doing things, going to places by myself, going to the sports bar, watching a game, maybe having a brew, meeting other people there. I started going to other places. I started going to concerts on my own. I started working a lot and traveling with work more because I didn't have to be home all the time, so I could travel and visit my territory, which was the West Coast. So that's kind of what happened after she filed for divorce. It sucked. I'll be real, and I know a lot of guys that have gone through here have experienced those same challenges. And Dak is right. 80% of them file. Yep. 20% chance. There you go. I mean, look at the statistics. Forgotten ones in the house. Let's see, who else did I miss? Wolf King, Betty, Trog, good to see you. Billy A. Who else we got? I know a lot of people have come in. We're talking, but glad people are here. Slam's back. Good to see Slam Arvero. Oh, good. Good. Well, if I missed anyone, just keep hopping in. But if I can get through it, anybody can. And yeah, we're going to sacrifice money. We'll sacrifice money. You're going to pay a lot of money going through divorce. Not only the money you pay to an attorney in a court, but the money that you split, the money that you have to continue to pay, whether it's child support, whether it's medical, educational costs, things like that. So it is what it is. But I'm in a great place. And I decided, I think about it was 4 months after I filed for divorce, or she filed for divorce and I moved out, I found Barbarossa, Paul Proteus. I found TFM, Sandman, and finally Big John. Big John, to me, was the guy that I related to the most. I liked his delivery. I liked his intelligence. I liked, man, this guy is is saying the exact same things that I'm feeling. And then I'd read the comments, and every one of these comments, hundreds of them, thousands of them, men in there saying, that's exactly what happened to me. I was married 15 years, 3 kids. One day I come home, the doors are locked or whatever. And so I started seeing a community, and I began to understand what the word MGTOW meant. Now, what's interesting, in 2010, I heard the term MGTOW from a guy that was going through divorce. And he told me, and I was married at the time, apparently happily married in 2010. And he said, check out MGTOW. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Oh, man, men going their own way. This was in May of 2010. And he was going through divorce, and he lost his kids. His wife took the kids, classic. He could see them once a month, typically with someone, a custodian, a protector of a state sanctioned person. So that's what happened. And thank God I found these channels, and that's why I decided, someday maybe I should share, 4 or 5 years later, I'm like, I'm going to share my story. Maybe it'll help somebody, because I've been helped. And a community was growing. And then obviously the backlash with Big John and all the channels being shut down because of Susan getting all panties in a wad because men are speaking up and are not afraid to talk about it anymore. There was a lot of MGTOWs in the day. Even commenters. I don't know if anybody remembered the New York Korean MGTOW. I don't know whatever happened to him. He was a mechanic, but yeah, there was lots, and a lot of people have changed. They took MGTOW, like Darius MGTOW, and there was one guy named LFA, Lean Fit Army. He was MGTOW at one point, and all these people were red pilled and they went away or whatever. But I decided, you know what? I should share my story. I should share what I've gone through. I've had the kids. I've been through the course. I have been married. She did have an extracurricular activity with another person during our marriage. I went through the same challenges of trying to make somebody happy. I went through the same challenges of a wife that went on antidepressants and SSRIs, and how that mangles and destroys the relationship, not only with people, but with themselves, and what people go through and what I've learned. And I think that we come together, and it's funny, after 5 years of doing this, 80% are the same people. So we literally are a group of brothers that respect and share our experiences, and which I much appreciate. There's never a time, if any man is feeling, that's a great quote, Wolf. If any man is feeling down, there's so many different streams, so many different channels, and now than there's ever has been. Back then, live streams I don't think were as prevalent as they are today. There's a live stream, 2, 3, 4 live streams a day. Brandon Trubla goes all day long. Gone with John's doing them all the time. Dak's back at him. Chris Mitchell does them. MGTOW Outlaw, MGTOW Values. There's so many, Hammer Hands doing them all the time. The OG of the space. So we have a place to go to share these initial challenges of going through divorce, going through the family courts, going through what it's like to pick the pieces up, right? What comes to mind when you hear I'm not happy? Selfishness. Forgotten One says, I think he lost it, but it's just smoke and mirrors, brother. ITR is back. Good to see you. John says, my ex regrets divorcing me, and now she also blames the woman she was talking to. A woman's committee will always make other women single. Ain't that the truth? Hearing these stories makes me so happy I never got married. What a headache. At FJT is flourishing without a tied down life to a woman. Women do not marry you, they marry the government. Dak says they sabotage themselves. They sure do. Women are emotional, so they go in the moment. One of my female friends thinks she should short of be friendly with her ex. It's cut and dry on his part. You can't be, I don't know who can be friendly with their ex. Are you kidding me? They're not my friends. They're my, all you can say about your ex, if you're a dude, just say it's the mother of your kids. Modern women are not happy with themselves, and most of them have mental issues, bipolar or narc. So she will become your problem. So fix her. Yeah, but you can't fix her, right? Europe. Nick says, thanks for relaying your story. Other men will find it and give them hope for the future. Hope so, brother. Thanks for being here, Nick. JW is in the house. No cohab, no marriage, no commitment. That is the safest way to live right there. I've seen all these new apartments being built just for the heck of it. Went to look, and they're all full of single women. Yeah, a lot of them are out here too. Polska's back. Good to see you, Polska. He's out delivering. D-Man says thank you. Thank you guys for being here. We'll keep reading some comments. For a long time, I thought I failed. Then I realized it wasn't me or anything I didn't do. That was my initial burst of red pill. And that's another thing. That's a great point you bring up, T-Tox. The reality is men believe that they're the failure, that they did it. The woman was so unhappy, you drove them to unhappiness or to a dark place, and they had to divorce you because you caused it. And I would say 98% of men feel that they are the reason of divorce. And when you realize to yourself and you get these thoughts out on papers, you write the pros and cons of your wife or your ex-wife down, and you start to realize that the one that's divorcing you was not the one you married, but the one that you married was in a disguise, and everything comes out in the wash, and you realize that, you know what? And then you meet another guy that's been through it, and another guy that's gone through the exact same thing, and another guy, oh, you're abusive and controlling too. And John is too, and Dak, oh, you're abusive and controlling. And then you go on dates with gals, and they go, oh, my ex-husband was abusive and controlling too. It's like, you start to realize that it's just part of the dance of relationships. Eventually, you can't fix them. John says we found CGA early on. I remember CGA. Remember when he was first starting out? I think he had 4,000 subscribers when I first found him. He was way chill and very humble back then. Dak says they love Lexapro. Yep, and Wellbutrin. They call Wellbutrin the divorce drug. When you're with a woman who likes you more, live like you're single. There you go, brother. Lexipigs. Let's see. Pete from the UK says the UK Guardian paper today saying for the first time less than 50% of adults in marriage. I think I read that. Read that somewhere, Peter. Good to have you, brother. Correct government funded. I drove by one place and I see all the women outside walking their dogs. Lots of dog lovers. We got to put them out of business. The only way we put them out of business is to never step into their business by getting married or living with a woman or being sloppy when it comes to relations and not understanding the risks, right? Slam says crossing an ocean for an emotional creature who wouldn't even give you a glass of water. I always thought about this. What if you ran into your ex? You're driving, say you're driving to California from Utah. You drive through the Vegas desert, Arizona desert. Come across a car that's broken down, and you go, oh my gosh, that's my ex-wife. I haven't seen her for 2 years. And she's begging you, can you help me? Can you give me a ride to town? What would you do? Knowing your kids are all grown up, she has a phone, she can call a tow truck, what would you do? I've always wondered what I would do. If a man is single, he is happy. If a woman is single, she is miserable till she dies. Winter is coming. Radical Rafter, women love gaslighting. They sure do. ITR said, I dated a gal for 5 years in my 20s. After some bedroom fun, she broke down in tears, explaining how much she loved me and could never see a life without me. She was gone 10 days later. Again, it's always in the moment. Remember, whenever they say I love you, in this moment you do. Trogue says women in accountability never happens. Or if it does, it's extremely rare, like a unicorn. RAD, we have a lot of folks who claim to be MGTOW, but they're not. We have others who don't claim to be MGTOW and stand by most of the tenets of the philosophy. We need a better definition or understanding. Yeah, it's gotten so, what's the word? Bloated, the term MGTOW, the term red pill. I think it's just I think we should just sum it up as peace, quiet, and freedom. Whatever brings you peace, quiet, and freedom. Right? And puts you in control. We should come up with a new term. Women love their body counts, yo. They love their body counts. There's Dak's channel. Check out Dax's. Dax is back out of the hospital. He's going to start doing more live streams. Glad he is on the mend. Show your ex the exit door. There you go. Every woman I've spoken to that was divorced have all said their husband was controlling and abusive in a NARS. John Boston from Boston. Excelsior. Silver Linings. Is that what you're thinking, that movie with Bradley Cooper? That was a great movie, by the way. It's no good trying to red pill other men too much before they've actually gone through the ringer. They only learn afterward. And that's, you know what? That's the hardest truth. If you think about it, we want to help and alert. We want a beacon, and we want one of those, ways to let men know, don't do it. But they won't listen to other men. They will go with their heart. They will go with the emotion, the fantasy of what they think marriage will be. Men are in love with the fantasy. Women are in love with the fantasy of being a bride. But they've, the man that she marries is never the fantasy of the man that she desires, but she settles. A woman that marries always settles. Always. The man that she wants is a fantasy. Let's be real. You're plan B. How I would love to tell my two nephews just got married, or one nephew, and I just want to tell him, dude, don't do it. You just can't take. They have to crash and burn. You have to touch a stove for the first time when your mom and dad told you don't touch the stove until you touched it and you burned your hand. Then you realize you don't touch the stove, right? Dak says I'd give her a ride to the ditch. If she is single and is still on dating apps, it means nobody wants her. Oh yeah, go back on you know what? Every now and again, I always jump on the dating apps to see who's there. 80% of the women from 9 years ago are still on it. Crazy. David Smith, good to see you, brother. And if I haven't called you out, I just had to get through my long-winded story. So there you go. Even the 2% spend a lot of time in the company of the 98%. No true unicorns. 98% of women have a playbook. They sure do, Slam. He-Man Women Haters Club. Little rascals. Attaboy. Unfortunately, those that love communism are the ones that love verbal musical chairs. Live verbal musical chairs. Yep, absolutely, SCE. Thank you for being here, brother. Modern women are like little kids. They watch too much Disney movies. Yeah, the fantasy is alive and well in a woman. If you're going to make a product that's a fantastical thing for a woman, like a weight loss product, because that's their fantasy. Most of them never lose their weight, right? Shout out to Scotty. Good to have you, brother. Check out Scotty's channel and Ike. Scotty's site's going live tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific. Got to learn the hard way, Billy A says. They sure do. How about the women saying they're going MGTOW? Again, women love to invade men's spaces, right? 98% of women are not recommending the 1% to 2% that are decent. You have to vet them. And they still have a female brain and emotional nature. So thanks, Dak, for putting up Scotty's channel. Chris Mitchell's back. Good to see the Emperor in the house. Hope you're doing well, brother. It's all cat and dog pics on the dating apps, or pictures with their kids in them. The ultra simplest, beta male provider, OnlyFans member, passport bros, and high value men. Who wants to buy women? You can't buy attraction. I'm surprised at how many men rush back into marriage. Maybe I didn't get the memo. I'm sure that short version, Rad, it was a short version, but I figured, you know what? That's kind of the initial steps. And I'll share more of my story. I'll share when the popo came and so forth. And I think that's helpful. In fact, I get more views sharing a story than just sharing a topic. And I think for me, I would have done the same thing, watched more guys' story, because it somehow, what's the word? It reinforces us as men that we can get through things. I've talked to multiple men on this channel. Probably the majority have sent me emails. I've met them in person. They've stayed with me. And I can tell you, quality dudes. guys that have gone through the ringer, guys that have shared with me things about them that they've never shared with anyone. And it's like you realize we are good dudes. We only wanted to do the right thing. Nobody got married and had kids to get divorced. Nobody wanted that, but it happens. We have to accept that. The longer I'm alone, the deeper stoicism seeps in. Well said. Rad, were you the first ding dong for your ex? No. No, I think I was the third, but who knows? Stockholm syndrome for the men. Well, men just don't learn. You know, they want to believe the fantasy that they can take. Men want to fix and take care of a woman and kids. They want to fix a woman, and they can't. Jawar, it's a lot worse than most people know. Go to the source, cpusa.org. There's are your usurpers. I've been unsubscribed too, Jawara. And I think there's going to be another purge of channels. They rush back to marriage because they can't live alone. If you can live alone, it means you achieve the level of self-mastery. Thanks, D-Man, for putting that up. I hardly go to Rumble. So if anyone leaves me comments, I never really go. Peace, quiet, and freedom now. Give monk mode and all, and I'm immune to the games. There you go, brother BJ. David says it's the delusion, Rad. The regular blue pillar truly believes he is nothing without a relation. Attaboy. I think you hit on the head. They have to be validated by a title, being a boyfriend, a fiance, a husband, a long-term partner, a provider. They love the title. After the long honeymoon phase, WW3 begins. I think it starts before you sign the license. Little boys and girls laugh and cry a lot. Men do not laugh as much as they did during childhood and almost never cry. Women laugh and cry a lot. JC, that is true. Women who put my kids come first on the dating profile, you got to feel sorry for them. They're their worst enemy. Well said, Peter. They're only good for one thing. Rad, did some other poor sucker replace you in the prison afterward? Yes. Total beta male. Let him be happy. He's probably gotten the wrath, but who knows? He's such a beta male, but you know what? Let her be happy. Real life stories can be resonated with by men more easily. Also good to know you're not the only one who's been through a shit show, says Nick. Well said, brother. Christian's back. Hey, brother. You got in late. Fortunate, happens. Don't want to bring a basket case into my son's life just to get the vajayjay? Really? Good for you, Slam. Mouth agape ape is back. He's riding his motorcycle. Good to see you, brother. The new man is smelling her fresh blanks. Farts, air cleaner for 300 Trebek. Yeah. Beware, guys. As soon as you mention any news of a secret society crap, they get panicked. They sure do. Something's weird. I was talking to a buddy today about all of the technology and how they track everything. They're even tracking me and my job in terms of they got all sorts of shit. Luckily, I'm a sales guy, so I push back all the time. I send rad pics of women I know on the dating sites. All of these 50-plus women repackaged and born-again virgins. He sure does, and they are fugly. I wouldn't hit them with the 10-foot pole in a swamp. I watched a video earlier saying that divorce in Muslim countries have been increasing due to Western influence. Oh, what a surprise. Or it all starts with the attitude. Remember, when the woman believes in a marriage that she's better than the husband, or that her voice is more important, even though she doesn't bring in any of the value in terms of the finance, the employment, she might take care of the kids, which is wonderful in itself if she does. But there is a pilot and a co-pilot in a marriage. And when it becomes the woman pilot, the marriage is doomed. Mine tried to become the pilot, never worked. I think she gave up. All they really have is a hole, guys, says Nick. Dax says Canadians are divorcing like crazy. The Western world is full of divorce. Aren't you glad? Dak has shared his story on my live channel with Father Saunders. He wasn't even married, and he was put behind cement and bars for 3 months. Wasn't even married. Go watch that video. It's called A Horror Story. We did it on Halloween. SCE, you're delusional, bro. Our system rewards women to be sexualized and profit. Now they do every 60-year-old, even 60-year-old women, sure. There's a huge, I read an article that the fastest growing prawn, no, maybe I heard it from Hammer. The fastest growing prawn theme is older women in their 50s and older. And stepmothers. Our smartphones listen to the things we say out loud, says T-Tox. They sure do. If she is not loyal, let her go. It's her loss and your win. Focus on your mental and physical health. When you get married, they expect complete complacency from you, nothing less and always more. Oh, isn't that the truth, David? You hit it on the head. Marriage is my great regret. If I could do it all over, I would have walked before I could. I would have walked away before it got that far. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, says CJW. JW, I agree with that statement. I'm still waiting for my time machine for 1995. Wait till you get in your 50s. Women in their 60s will talk to you and say, oh, we're the same age. Oh, sure they do. All these older women on dating sites, they thought it was a greener pasture. Yep. Chris broke his toe, unfortunately, brother. You were rowing the boat while she was punched. Yep. I like to say that. When you were rowing the boat to get you safe to shore, she was poking holes in it to sabotage it. You just didn't know it. Hey, well, guys, I have a friend with benefit right now who is married. Open marriage. I'm her alpha Chad and opened up her marriage so that she could bang. They always have others. She's not yours. It's just your turn. Interesting. Interesting, Scotty. There's Chris's channel. There's Simone from Italy. Has your ex ever watched one of your? I have no idea. I have no idea. I know a few people who engage in their 50s and 60s. Billy A. Oh, geez. Be careful, guys. It's weird out there, says Christian. Market value for quality peace leave is about 300. Most married women don't come close to that kind of value. Isn't that interesting? The value of sex. David Smith, I think you're right. It is trending. A Persian girl told me how Iran has increased divorces and things are going woke there. Jeez. I don't think the Ayatollah is going to like that. A few years ago, RAD said his friend lost his house to a girlfriend. Yep. He wasn't even married to her. She'd only lived there 18 months. He had to move out. And the judge made him sell it, he had to give her half of it. Go figure. Oregon. Libtard. Always be prepared to leave now if you do get into a relationship, no matter what the circumstances. Good advice, Nick. If she is a single mother with only one kid or single and over 30, it means she can't pair bond with the man. If she would be a diamond, she'd be taken. Well said, Europe. ITR, thoughts on the Jonathan Noble? If you'd still like to have a child to pass down, no marriage or cohab. I just think having kids today, brother, is just too dangerous. It's too risky. I think older women have been restoring to prawn when they are older. I can understand how it's a fast growing. Well, they get attention, right? I think and money. She got abusive and controlling. You know, it's interesting, these open relationships. I've heard more and more about them from other people. Women always have a backup guy and know who they will bang before they divorce. Damn right, John. Damn right. SCE says, as men, we see that men that we're seen as second-class citizens. A lot of friends who are POC say that they've already lived through it once and not putting up with it. Why would you do it again? You know, it's so weird. I'm 61 and ugly AF. Females don't even look my way. But if you had money, they'd be knocking on your door. Detox. Married women are too easy to bang, says FJT. Yes, Scotty, just make sure they don't know where you live or what car you drive. They all tell me, welcome to our world. Open marriage is not marriage. It's just somebody's ego getting unleashed. Slam says everyone's shadow banned, of course. Free Slave Mind's back. Good to have you. What do you think of people breaking up around the 30-year mark? It's happening more and more. It's probably 25 years too long. If your ex wanted you to hit like old times, would you do it rich? No. And I'll tell you why. If you did hit it, you give her attention. I'm sad by your courthouse system. Well, it's unfortunate. The laws are written the way the laws are written. Both, Nick. I'm going to downsize and be mobile. But I'll still do my live stream somewhere, somehow. Shadow ban for the truth, says SCE. The tactics of modern women are to act submissive in the beginning. After the marriage, she files for divorce to take your house. I just had to get through it, man. Lots of electrolytes, Gatorade, and just hating life. That sucked. Do you still have it? There you go. That's the best way to live, T-Tox. Look like you have nothing. I've been watching these hilarious videos about cam models who flip and start crying over dudes not wanting to go private. The price of peace leave is falling through the floor. I think Greg Adams said something that peace leave will be like $5 in the future. It is usually 7 years, but I think, but not certain, says Dak. Well said. Guys, it's been a great stream and all your comments. Hopefully I wasn't too annoying with my story. Hope you got something out of it. It's always good to share with others. Let's see. Trogue says, was at a Costco this morning, had like 4 or 5 middle-aged married women checking me out and needing a shower. Nothing wrong with being, wanted. Who cares? Human sexuality. There's a attractor factor, but we know what's behind that attraction. Nothing better than being a free man in a slave society, says Timmy Kramer, the forever bachelor. Attaboy. Take care, free slave. I drive a Hyundai and I've had women look at me and they say, you drive a Hyundai. Till next time, you guys get out and do something fun this weekend. We will be back. Check the stream. Scotty goes live in an hour. No, 2 hours. Dak's going to go live, and it's going to be great. Hang in there, and shout out to everyone that stopped in and I'll read one more from our lovely FJT. Long ago, a married woman said she wanted to get down. She's supposedly in an open marriage. The whole situation seemed dangerous. I had a feeling she wasn't honest, and you got the hell out of there. Good for you, brother. Be well, rebel against defeat, chase excellence, masculinity, and of course, men first. I'm out.